Hi everybody, and welcome to week 4 of Step into Spring with St Rocco's, your challenge to get you moving, getting fitter and more active, and raising funds for St Rocco's Hospice in Warrington. So this week's theme is going to be balance, and we're going to be looking at how you can use balance as part of your training to become stronger, to be able to walk further and be fitter in everything that you do. My name's Beth, and I've been a fitness professional, a personal trainer and manager in the fitness industry for over 20 years now. And balance is something that I take pretty seriously in my training. It's something that I work with quite a bit, and I know that it really helps me progress towards my other fitness goals. So as we move into week 4, we are 50% of the way towards our 6-week target of activity. So that's a really great time to take stock and reflect on how far we've come. It's a great chance to reassess and review what's been working for you and what maybe hasn't been working. So we should be at least 50% of the way towards our activity target. If we're not, this is the time to have a look at where we've been falling short. Do you find that Monday to Friday you're able to keep active really well, but then over the weekend you're much more sat down, spending time relaxing? Is there something that you can incorporate into your weekend routine to get you more active and working towards your goal? Okay, so why balance? Why would we want to introduce balance training into your weekly workouts? So better balance can actually help you improve your speed. It'll help you with your coordination and with joint stability as well. So if you're somebody who rolls an ankle quite a lot, balance training can really help to improve the joint stability of the ankle, as well as all other areas of the body, depending on what exercises you take part in. And as a result of that, we reduce the overall risk of injury and the overall risk of falling on uneven surfaces. Balance training is going to help improve your core stability, which we should know by now is really important, and it's going to help your overall strength. So let's take a look at some really simple balance exercises that you can incorporate into your routine to help improve your strength and fitness. So to start with, if I'm training for balance, I like to train in bare feet. Now this is entirely up to you, but by being barefoot, it gives us a chance to really get grounded, to connect with the floor and use all the corners of our feet to really stabilise ourselves. Barefoot will also give you a little bit of extra grip that working in socks wouldn't. And it's going to allow you to really use your toes to grip into the ground and improve those balance poses. I also like to work on a hard floor. Working on a carpeted floor is a little bit less stable, so it actually makes the balances more difficult. So where you can, work barefoot and work on a hard floor surface. So starting off, we're going to start by just lifting one leg, bending the knee, and we're going to bring it up to hip height. So at hip height, you should find that your thigh bone is horizontal, parallel with the ground. And we can start by holding that for as little as 10 seconds and extending that upwards. When you make your transitions, try and move really evenly. And as the other leg comes up, be aware of what your body is doing. So the leg that lifts, that hip is going to want to lift in the air. That hip is going to want to hike upwards, and you're going to want to lean towards your standing leg. Be aware of the hips, keep them level, keep the shoulders level, and then try and keep that knee up at hip height. With any standing balance poses, we want to try and draw tall through the body, Keep the shoulders back, the chest open, and drawing up through the top of the head. If you remember week 1 when we talked about posture, all those points are going to be really, really great for your balance poses as well. So by bringing the leg up, we're working harder on our standing leg. Your core will automatically kick in. And now that might be challenge enough for you. If you want to start to make this a little bit more challenging, we can extend and straighten that lifted leg. So take a little look. Keeping the hips level, chin up off the chest, core brace tight. We bring the knee up to 90 degrees so the thigh bone's parallel with the floor. Flex the foot by pulling the toes back towards the knee, and then see if you can start to straighten that leg all the way out. Now you might only be able to get a little extension to begin with, or you might be able to push the leg all the way out, and then try to lift that leg higher without rounding out your spine. You can hold that for a few moments and then come down and try it on the other side. So make sure you're nice and steady first. Keep the hips level as the leg picks up. Pull the toes back towards the knee. And then see if you can extend and push away through the heel. Now it's really normal with balance to have one side that's more stable than the other. That could be just due to strength imbalances. It could be down to an injury you've had on one side of the body, or many, many other things. But by being really patient, you can level those imbalances up, which will help you with everything else in your physical day-to-day life. Okay, exercise number 2 we're going to try. We're going to come up onto our tiptoes and we're going to try a little squat down. So to begin with, let's just come to our tiptoes. So bringing the feet together, or if you struggle with your balance, bring them to hip width. If you can, bring the feet all the way together for me, and we're going to push up onto the tips of our toes, onto the balls of our feet, and hold your balance there. So again, we want a long straight line from the ankles through knees, hips, ribs, shoulders, up to the top of the head. So practice standing as tall as you can. Now that might be enough for you. You might find you're wobbling. Don't worry about those wobbles. Those wobbles are just your body adapting and getting stronger in terms of balance. If you're finding you can do that confidently, then you can start to add a little sit down into it. So we come up onto the tiptoes, set the eye gaze up straight ahead so the chin's parallel to the floor, and then start to bend the knees, sit the hips back and down. If your legs are together, squeeze the thighs together, and you might come part way, or you might be able to sit all the way down so the thighs come parallel with the floor, and then push through the toes to stand up. Okay, and if your feet are hip width apart, make sure your knees are just tracking nice and straight. So you push up onto the toes. With the feet wider, you've got a more stable base, so you might find it a little bit easier to get that bit lower. And with all these balance poses, if they're new to you, be aware that it's going to take you a little bit of time to adapt and be really, really patient with your body. Okay, so let's try exercise number 3. We're going to start from Warrior 3. So Warrior 3 is a pose that's used in yoga. We are going to tip forwards and we're going to extend one leg out behind us. And we're going to take our arms out like an aeroplane to help us balance. Now, if you're a bit wobbly, you might want to keep the back toe on the floor. But if you're confident and you want to work harder, you can tip all the way forward and allow that leg to come up. Now, as always with your balances, we want to think about keeping lots of things nice and level. So this hip bone, again, is going to want to hike up, but we want to bring it down, level the pelvis off. Keep the chest nice and square and open, and the eyes in front. And if you're here with your toe on the floor, just start to practice lifting off a little bit, squeezing the glutes to bring it up, and gradually you may be able to find your way all the way to warrior three. So we're going to come from warrior three to standing. Tip forwards, warrior three, and standing. And then you can repeat that on the other leg. And remember, you've probably got one side that's going to be better at this than the other, so don't worry if you found that side really difficult and then the other side easier, or vice versa. So again, you can keep the back toes on the floor if you wish. We tip forward from the hips, squeeze the glutes to elevate the leg behind you. And we want to take these really nice and slowly. So don't rush, the slower the better. And as you progress, as you get a little bit better at these, if you're finding this easy, you can start to increase the work by bringing the knee up in front and not touching down. So you go from forwards, squeeze the shoulder blades, open the chest, and then if you can, bring the knee all the way up to the front. And that's really going to work that ankle stability hard. Okay, so those are 3 moves we've got already. Let's try a 4th one. So we're going to try a little bit of lateral movement now. Starting with the feet hip width apart. We're going to move the weight into one leg, and then to begin with, you're just going to keep a tiptoe down on the ground. Now, if you're feeling good with your balance, you can start to elevate that leg off and come a little bit wider. Stretch through fingertips, toes on top of the head, and then you're going to bring that foot in and step out the other way. So the bigger you make it, the harder it is. If you want to keep a toe down, that's absolutely fine, but push the arms wide. And with this one, we want to keep the body really square forwards. So the temptation with this is going to be to roll forward through the body. We want to open our chest, keep the shoulders level and the pelvis facing forwards. And the further you take that balance, the harder you're going to work. And we just want to practice taking that from side to side. Holding for a few seconds and then taking it the other way, either with the toe elevated or the toe down, depending where you are in your progress at the moment. Something a little bit different to try is a little bit of walking on our heels and walking on our toes. So while this is great for balance, it's also really good for strengthening the muscles in the lower leg. So we talked about this when we talked about how strength and conditioning can help with your fitness and with your walking technique. And when we talked about walking technique in week 1, we talked about pushing off the back leg and how that might create fatigue in the shins and the calves. So by practicing a little bit of walking on the toes and the heels, we can improve our balance and we can strengthen those muscles up as well. So walking on the toes, you're just pushing up onto the tiptoes, and maybe just starting with 30 seconds, taking a little walk around, staying up nice and high on the balls of the feet, and changing directions is really, really great to help with your balance as well. After 30 seconds, you come down and take a rest, and then you might want to try walking on the heels instead. So you're going to feel this more down the front of the shins. And it's going to strengthen up those muscles on the front of the lower leg. So the toes pull up, and again, we're just going to move around. You might be more comfortable doing this with shoes on, but that's completely up to you. Again, 30 seconds on toes, 30 seconds on heels, alternate between the two. A few sets of those will soon strengthen up the lower body. So all of the movements that we've tried today are designed to help you improve your balance, your physical stability, your coordination, your strength, and reduce your risk of injuring yourself during physical exercise and during any day-to-day tasks that you complete as well. As with any exercise, we should start off with a small amount, whether that be holding a balance for just a short amount of time and gradually building it up by a few seconds at a time as you get stronger and more confident, or starting with a small amount of reps and gradually increasing it. Please remember to be patient with your body, be aware of your posture, and appreciate those wobbles. That's your body getting stronger. Just a reminder that if you would like any more guidance and any more workouts to take part in, there are 2 live workouts per week on my Facebook group, which is Beth's Beauty and Body Care on Facebook. On Tuesdays at 10 a.m. we have a toning and conditioning workout, and then Thursdays at 10 a.m. we have a flexibility and mobility workout. And you can catch and join in with those sessions live, or you can replay them at any time you'd like from my timeline. Speaking of flexibility and mobility, in week 5 we're going to be talking about exactly that and how important that is to your overall physical fitness and why it's important to incorporate that sort of training into your weekly routine. I'll see you then for week 5. In the meantime, have a fantastic week, stay active, stay positive. I'll see you soon.